because that would have been the best title for the episode is vaporizing would be nice.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh man, if you want to get me going on YouTube wormholes, that is,
please.
I don't know what time you want this stream to end, but I can surpass it.
Yeah, I think so. We are live now, just to let you know. But
Woo!
please, what is your most recent wormhole?
Oh, it's funny. I said that and now I'm just blanking on it because now I know that we're streaming and I see the little red light, so my brain turns stupid.
Well, I'll help out, I guess. My most recent one was we were just talking about ways that the Earth is going to end.
Yes.
And ultimately, how unsatisfying a feeling it is to know, like, there's nothing really ultimately I can do, but also there's nothing really there's really nothing that can be done. It's not even like a political thing. It's not a environmental thing. It's just literally, hey, one of these days the Earth is going to shift and my wife will be joining us. Hey, wife.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about how our wormholes on YouTube, our most recent wormholes, as well as mine being ways that the world will be ending. John, did you figure out yours most recent one? Okay.
Yeah, I remembered. It's a thing I've been following actually for a couple years now, but it's really come to a head recently. Have you ever heard of a video game company called Intellivision?
Intellivision? No.
They were like
Intellivision sounds familiar, but I don't think I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with it. No.
So they were an old competitor to like Atari. This is like pre-Nintendo Entertainment System, like late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And they were like probably second or third place in that era. But like the company went away. There was that big video game crash in the 80s.
Right.
And recently, a couple years ago, this kind of charlatan bought the naming rights of this company and was like, we're going to make a new Intellivision gaming system.
Okay.
And like some people were really excited for it, like kind of in the retro video game YouTube world. That's how I like fell into this. And I started getting served all these videos and I started following this years ago because I was like, this sounds like a bad idea. like it sounds like a lot of the criticism was like the kind of mock-ups they have for these games look like cell phone games and not even recent ones, like 2012 cell phone games.
Like, oh, okay. I was gonna say like maybe like
because the new ones they're
I was gonna say like
pretty good.
Snake. Like I love Snake.
They're like got my slightly upgraded like versions of Snake.
Okay, yeah.
Which would be fun if it wasn't like a $300 gaming system you had to buy to play it.
Right.
So like this thing seemed doomed from the start, but in recent times, people have been investigating the guy who has resurrected this company. His name is Tommy Tallarico. He became like semi-famous in the video game space for making a lot of like 90s soundtracks to video games.
Okay.
So I think like a lot of Sega Genesis games.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And now people are realizing like, oh, this company is a total scam. Like the system is never coming out. It probably never was. And like this guy has like a record of just lying through his teeth about things for years, like about holding Guinness World Records about certain things related to like his video game compositions and stuff. Like if you want a 2-hour video that sums up this situation, it's by a YouTuber named H Bomber Guy. Just fascinating stuff. I find like narcissists and liars and people like that to be fascinating.
Yeah.
So I've just
did you watch the Madoff documentary?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I was thinking this sounds like a video game Ponzi scheme. Yeah.
Wait, is that the smartest guys in the room?
No, it was I think it was just called Madoff. It was a mixed. It was mixed between like the thing I hate about most documentaries, where they were like they do like the act outs. You know what I mean? They do the dramatization stuff like that.
Like recreations.
So
like they do in the murder shows.
Yeah, exactly.
It was exactly like that. Yeah.
And it's this guy who like kind of looks like Bernie Madoff, like acting out, like, so they're like, and then he just went and started telling him to delete emails. And then you see a guy going, delete the emails. And you're like, oh, that's what it looked like. Cool. I'm glad that they showed me, because otherwise I wouldn't have known what some guy telling that. But we watched that. It's like a mini series or something.
But yeah, talk
And
about a
it's-
narcissist. You
and
should watch that.
Okay.
literally a guy who, I mean, I can't even say spoiler alert, was just
Ooh.
lying. Like he was just like, that's it. He
Yeah.
there was no skill. Like there was no real
Manipulation.
like people, but that's like okay. So this is
He was super like I don't know. Like I think there was a lot of skill.
he wasn't charismatic. In my opinion, he was not a charismatic dude. He was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take your money and I'm gonna put it in here and I'm gonna give you it's a 100% success rate for everyone. Never was a red flag to anyone. Never was a red flag to anyone. But they were
I would
like,
say
he was a magic man. Like he fucking lied to you, stupid. He did the 100% Ponzi scheme model. And they were like, well, how'd you do this? And he's like, it's a Ponzi scheme. I lied to everyone. And you're like, so like, who knew? And you're like, nobody. I lied to everyone. And the people, to me, in my opinion, how many episodes was that?
It's 4.
It was like, 4 episodes. At the end of it, I was like, I don't even, it's not a matter if the people near him knew or anybody else knew. It was the fact that like they didn't want to know.
Yes, that
like they'd never asked.
They were like, this is too good to be true, but I'm still gonna go along with it.
I wouldn't say that's like a wormhole for me, but like I understand the fascination with I have that with serial killers. Like that,
I understand
kind of
that for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that to me, that's more intriguing of being like why, like not just why did you want to do this, but also like, damn, like how did you just exist doing this? Like to me, that's way more. That's kind of, but I don't go into too many. You don't really have a lot of time for wormholes, do you?
No, lately it's just been pottery.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
Oh, you've gotten into pottery?
You're like, there's a specific video game company from this year. I'm like, yeah, the way the polar ice cap shift. That was mine. Polar ice cap shifting. And
to end the
essentially,
world.
Essentially every disaster movie you've seen actually happening.
Yeah.
But yours is pottery and pottery.
I just got into it. I just started a pottery class. So I've been watching a bunch of videos of like, people I'm doing the wheel and then trimming it and just kind of, I don't know. It's fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
By the way, John Danek is here.
Yeah.
This is the course we've been live for a little bit now.
Should I be sharing anything on the socials?
I got it. I just did something on Instagram. If you want to share that, I will tell the people real quick that if you like what you're watching, please hit like and subscribe, just like every other time you hear it on YouTube. But also tell your friends. Also, check out another show I do with a buddy of mine, Andy Malafarina, called Drag the Lake. It's all music. Excuse me, all music, but it's all music from the year that we know. Come on, it's the mid 30s music, alternative. You know what I mean? Like we talk about music from our childhood, some new music that we like, as well as new music made by bands from our childhood. So check that out, as well as the Ask Pat MMA show. And also some other shows that my buddy Andy does. Check out Proper Ebonics right here on the channel, same channel you're on, with 2 hilarious friends of mine, Alan Massenberg and Kirk Griffiths. I produce that show silently for the culture. And if you want to check that out, make sure you give them a like and subscribe, all that stuff as well, but on Instagram. And if you like this, please, if you're listening to this, go to YouTube, go to Instagram, follow Baby Mermaid Productions on both of those. And John, do you have anywhere that you'd like to send people initially before we get into this son of a bitch?
Sure. You can follow me at Twitter and Instagram. The handle is at JJDanek, JJDANEK. And if you're feeling interested in listening to some new music, click the link in the bio. Yeah. And it will take you to a landing page of my most recent project, which is an electronic kind of techno thing that I've been on recently.
And don't listen to Spotify when they tell you that John Danek has music. It's not that right. It's not the right Danek.
No, it is somebody who I'm probably distantly related to in Poland who makes really bad electronic music.
Very bad, yeah.
My electronic music is not under that name.
Okay, good.
Good.
That project is called Infinighost.
Oh, okay.
So
I like that.
You'll end up there.
Infinighost.
Yeah.
Cool fucking name.
Yeah.
I've gotten some of the music sorted out, I think, on Spotify, but still some of that guy's, I think it's a guy. I think it's like a 20-year-old DJ.
I would say, yeah, from the just the pure ego of it, the fact that they're putting out that music, whoever that may be, I would have to assume they identify as male.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I
it's
may.
not, it's competent. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I could make it. Like, it's one of those things that, like, it's almost like magic. It's the same thing with magic. If it's something that I could do, I'm like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you did it smoother than I did, but it's not really, it's one of those things that I kind of feel like I envy, much like pottery. Like, you saw an art form, you respected it, you wanted to do it, and you did it. I've done that with painting for years. You could just paint. You could just start painting, and try to, but really, ultimately, I'm like, nah. It's like when I started playing roller hockey and stuff like that. Like, it's and porno. It's very very similar.
All of those things.
Both
painting
of those things.
and porno.
They're very similar. It's
making or watching.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Both.
I don't want to
combine those two.
I'm not a pro. I want to see the pros do it. I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
You get out on the ice, you do all. I'm not making any saves. You know. But John, it's been a long time.
Thank you for having me on the show. This is very fun. I like you guys a lot. I'm glad that you are able to join us, Dom.
I know. Well, when he told me who the guest was, I was like, oh yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And it is an honor. Not like my presence is an honor. I don't mean like that, but I'm reading a really, really, really good book, and I'm not going to read it because I wanted to talk to you. So I'm very excited.
I appreciate that. I know that feeling of getting sucked into a book. So this is big.
Yeah.
What's the most recent book that you've been reading?
I am currently about to finish a book called, I think it's called This Woman's Work, and it's essays about music, all written by women, and it's like curated and edited by Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And the cool thing about it is that the like tone and style of all the essays are so wildly different. Like, some are just very kind of serious biographies about like an artist that you might not be aware of. Some are interviews, some are very like artistic stream of conscious meditations on a variety of things. So like it's very it's kind of like the YouTube of a book.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, it just auto plays the next one, and I'm like, what is this? Of course, it knows me well enough to know it's interesting. So
that's my goal. I think that's the closest I'll get. Is I think I'm going to curate a book. I'll never be able to write a book, but I can I could curate a book. I could be like, yeah, I think you can. Good writing. Keep going.
I think you can write a book. I think anybody can write a book.
I just had a fucking incredible idea for a movie that I won't say here because it's that good of an idea, but I can tell you later that I am like as equally excited for and depressed about, because I know I'm like, but I am seeking out somebody that knows how to write a script so I can write this, at least learn the basics so I can get a rough draft and be like, is this something? You know, you know what I mean? Like, hand it to somebody, because ultimately it's I've had plenty of like, you know, like when you have an idea, they were just talking about it actually on the most recent episode of Proper Ebonics about like, you get the idea and the charge that you get from telling someone about the idea is enough, and then you just don't do it.
Yeah.
I've had that. So I don't know if there's like a cool, cute term for it or anything like that, but like I have that a lot of times. So
I know exactly that feeling.
Yeah.
And kind of similarly, I've had a rule for myself about like ideas that you get really excited for. It's called the 2-day, 2-week rule. And here's the thing. When I have an idea for something, of course, when you have an idea that day, like you're instantly super excited about it. You're like, oh, I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Give yourself 2 days.
Okay.
If you still think it's exciting 2 days later, it's probably a good idea. And if you're still excited 2 weeks later, it's definitely a good idea. Do it.
Have to do
like
it.
full,
Full steam ahead, work on it.
Yeah, I like that.
So then that gives me,
because then you're not defeated if it doesn't, you know, like you're like, oh, I had that idea, but nothing came of it. And then you're like, like
how much does pessimism play in this though? Because I can talk myself in or out of anything. I like literally anything. I can go like, here's the pluses and I can focus on that, or here's the negatives and focus on that. Cause like I have a couple ideas that I've had that I've kind of kicked around and told a couple people about, and they're like, yeah, that's a cool idea. I like that. then I'm like, now I'm thinking like, there's one that I'm like, yeah, but then there's the other one I'm more excited about. So I definitely know the order, but like I can talk myself out of anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you can talk yourself out of anything, can you similarly talk yourself into anything?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's like legitimately, I feel like if I could read, I would be a great lawyer.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
Look out.
Yes.
Here's the thing. It sounds like you're focusing on this quality of yourself being pessimistic and talking yourself out of things. But like, from my perspective, I see somebody who kind of is like, has built this Pennsylvania podcasting empire, which I think is very, very cool, which is a lot of work, a lot of it relatively thankless.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I think it's awesome. And I admire that you've done that. So like, I think maybe what you feel happening in your inner dialogue may not reflect kind of the capability and your true possibilities.
John, your suspicions are shockingly accurate. They are my view of me is always a negative. Like it's not even just like a negative, like in the sense of like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Like I know I can do all these things. It's almost like it's like when, you know, like when they used to say, maybe they didn't say this to you in school, but it's like it's not motivated. He's not motivated in school. We have to like, no, I don't like, I'm not motivated because I don't fucking like any of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the
you're not
times
interested in it. Why are you gonna like, you're like, I don't care about this.
But it is interesting that you're right. Like that there are like there are things that mindlessly that I'm like, oh yeah, I would do that no matter what. Like this is like the things that I do for free. So oftentimes the thankless jobs that I do or the thankless things that I do are not necessarily thankless. Like I'm doing it
for you.
I'm a trial and error. They're very selfish. So I think that's essentially what it is when I do a lot of these things. So the way that I started doing the podcasting in the area and stuff like that was I wanted to build a portfolio and learn how to do it better. And I kind of said, would you guys want to do that? Do a podcast and let me do it. So essentially
the original idea was
it was
that
a win-win.
You could like, it was kind of like a portfolio that he could go to Sirius and say, hey, look, this is what I've done. Do you need a producer? And then it shifted to, why do you need Sirius? Just do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then
which I think is far cooler.
Yeah. So then that's what, where it kind of, well, yeah, but you get to do it on your terms because you're selfish and it's very,
well, I can relate to that.
See why I have a negative self-image of like that.
It can be very, he has it's challenging for him sometimes to work with other people if they're not in the same like mindset or if they're not as motivated as he is. He really, that's a struggle for him.
That's exactly why I, in the past few years, have decided to make music entirely by myself, without a band, to an audience of less than 10 most of the time.
Yeah.
So like
that's why he got into comedy. He was like,
speaking of audiences of less than 10.
He was like, I'm over this band shit because they're doing it as a hobby and I want to, do something with this. So then he was like, comedy is just me. I just have to worry about myself. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do.
If I want to do music, I can do music. If I want to do a puppet, I can do a fucking puppet. If I want to do whatever, like it's legitimately, I envy somebody like you that can say, I'm going to do all of the music myself, because that's something that I wish I think I could do. But again, I think it might be even that same thing of like, I don't know what I can really offer to it. It's like I like playing with other people. I do like playing with other people. I just couldn't find people as motivated or had the same outlook. The same drive, essentially.
That's hard to find.
It is.
There's always people who want to take it more seriously or less seriously, and that's tough. Wait, can we go back to the pottery? Because I'm interested in that. Like, what made you? It's not you got into this recently.
Yes. So I've only taken 2 classes so far, but it's just something that I've really wanted to do for a while, and I've talked to Pat about it multiple times. He's like, do it. And then I drive by the place, the studio it's right by his work. And one day I was going to pick him up And I was just like, fuck it. And I took a right turn and I went right in and I was like, I want to sign up for a class. And they're like, okay. And then I did it and I was like, oh my God. But what's really cool is I go Fridays from 10 to 1. And just it being like in the morning, in the day like that, it's a bunch of like 60-year-old women. I'm the youngest one there.
Oh, that sounds so chill.
Oh my God. It is the best. And they like, I'm like, this is perfect. I love it so much. They they always comment on my name. They're like, I've never met a Dominique before. Like, oh, that's such a beautiful name. And they're just
it is a cool name.
Sweet old ladies. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah.
But my aunt does it. She lives in New Hampshire. She teaches. She's been teaching pottery and sculpting for probably 30 years, 40 years in high school. And she, every time we go visit, she lets us have, like, she gives us pieces that she makes. So I have some bowls, I have some platters, I've got mugs, like I have a couple different things. And I was like, I would love like a whole pottery, like all of our dishes to be pottery, but I was like, it's going to take forever because we get like pieces from her. And then I was like, why don't I do it? I could make us a set. Like, it may not be like perfect, but it would be fun doing it. And then I decided I should look for a class. And then I did. And I absolutely love it. And I'm really good at it. Like, that's the other thing that's like,
oh, that's awesome.
My instructor was shocked. She was like, you are catching on so quick. She was like, you're meant for this. She was like, your hands were meant for this. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I think that's ultimately the thing that, like, when you find something that like somebody like, because if you're only being introspective or you're only doing it for yourself, like you can't really, you don't know. That's why anytime I was producing a podcast for somebody and they're talking about banking episodes, was one thing I always say, like, don't bank too many of them, because you want to like kind of get feedback. You want to find out like what things are like. And when you get that immediate positive feedback, it not only gives you like the feeling of like, oh, this is where I should, like, going to do like jujitsu, like the first time of being like, oh, like, dude, pretty good. Like, this is cool. Or like, or when somebody recognizes that stuff, it's like, it's such, I'm trying to think of the word. Not, what is that? Retribution.
Vindication?
Vindication of like, oh, this was something that I thought I would be good at.
Validation.
That's
oh yeah.
Jesus Christ. I didn't know that anyway.
I mean, vindication. It like,
that sounded right.
Yeah. It's
probably right. But it's that like like when your instincts are correct, because like, that's the only thing. Like there are certain things that I am educated on that I do know that have come with experience, and that's really all the things that I can speak to are experience and essentially just like interests. Like, because anything else to me, it just doesn't stick. I don't know what it is. It may be a disorder, maybe something else, but ultimately motivating things like, oh, I want to do pottery. Like the same, I'm sure the same thing will happen to me with painting one time. You know what I mean? I just need to find my place. Like, it was like that place was calling you.
Yeah.
Like when she's the reason I started doing stand up, and like, because I told her I wanted to do it, but I just kept not doing it. I let my perception be reality. So
it's having the courage to take the step
to Google it. She Googled it.
Like, it's scary putting yourself out there.
I didn't even Google it. That's the thing, is I just assumed the only place you can do stand-up comedy are New York City or Los Angeles. That's it. That's end and beginning of the list, and not in any particular order. That's the only two places, maybe Chicago. So I'm thinking of these major cities, and she's like, and she Googled it. She's like, there's one like 20 minutes from here. There's one 30 minutes from here. There's a Tampa. You can go wherever. And when I got off stage, somebody asked me, have you performed before? Because I said it was my first time. And I was like, no. They're like, I was like, oh, that felt cool. I was like, I've been in bands and stuff, and I joke around on stage, but I've never performed like in a show before.
Yeah.
And that was immediately. So that was like, oh, cool. I'm doing something that I want to do.
Yeah, getting that validation. Okay. Like I
other
can keep
people
going.
Also think I should be doing.
Yeah.
So it's immediate like that, and it's cool. So she's planning on making us dishes for the cats. what was it? What's the garlic thing?
Oh yeah, I messed up, and they showed me I can make a garlic grater, so it looks like a
It's
plate,
crazy. I've
but
never heard of this.
Textured. So you just take the garlic and rub it, and then you can take that off. So
You like scoop it off.
Yeah.
Oh, does it get
It's
like
a plate
the
grater.
hard part?
No, I think it's just the clove.
Okay. Oh,
Like, I don't think it's the yeah, I mean, I'll try it because that would be nice to not have to peel garlic.
Yeah.
But
that is the worst part of cooking. And I use like an offensive amount of garlic whenever I
us
cook.
too. Yeah.
Like, because why not? It's delicious.
So good. I love everything garlic.
Does your spouse, does your mate, your partner? Sorry, I couldn't think of the word.
Mate.
Girlfriend, partner.
I don't know what
He's
people
on the
call
other
it.
side of that wall.
Yeah. Does does the skirt that lives in your house?
Yeah.
Does she like garlic as well?
She does. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's no
fucking
threat
pour
of
on.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only person you'd have to worry really about offending. Other than that,
Yeah. When you both have garlic breath, who cares?
yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But
It
sorry.
neutralizes.
And
So-
she doesn't have a sense of smell, so I can rock garlic breath.
Oh,
all day.
Yeah.
is that a COVID thing or is that?
No, born with it
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
or born
Wow.
without one. Yeah.
Interesting.
In fact,
I want to know what
selfishly,
it tastes like for her.
selfishly, it's kind of great because
Yeah.
like I can just fart whenever I want in it.
Yep.
It's no mind.
You don't have to worry about nothing.
But we moved in together and we spent a lot of COVID time together. And the other side of that is that I got very used to being able to fart around somebody all the time. So
Yeah.
now I have to be like hyper conscious when I'm out in public or like out with friends. Like, no, you can't,
Yeah.
No, you don't.
can't just like rip ass here all the time.
Yeah.
Why?
I remember growing up, my grandmother would always yell at me for burping. And I'm like, we're home. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And she was like, no, you're going to get used to it. And then you just do it out in public. And I was like, whatever. And I remember the first time that happened, I was like, oh shit, grandma was right. Yep. Because I just let it go because that's what I did at home.
I had the same exact conversation with my mom when I was like 7. And I remember it distinctly because like I like farted very loudly or something. And she was like, don't do that. And I was like, what alternative are you proposing? Like, do you want me to go to the bathroom? And she was like, yes. And then like, I could see like she was thinking about it. She's like, no, I guess that's like a ridiculous
Yeah.
alternative
Every time?
too.
Every
Yeah.
time I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a thin line between like, because okay, so if I may, my etiquette, if you're outdoors, no holds barred.
Yeah.
Anything goes. And really ultimately, any public space with high ceilings, I feel like it's kind of, I mean, come on. Right? Like you could fart in a grocery store, right?
I think so.
There's lots of other
you can fart in a
smells
grocery
offered.
store for sure.
Yeah.
I think you can fart, but it's like pushing it out, lifting a leg. Like when you're doing like those things out in public, that's where it's rude.
No.
But if you just let it go.
If I may, madam, if I may, madam, if I may,
Okay, go.
it's the silent but deadlies that are because you're not taking responsibility. If I'm sitting there and I'm like,
Why do I have to take responsibility?
John knows.
We all
look
fart.
out over
Who cares
there.
who did it?
Don't go over there. That guy just lifted a leg and went like this. He knows danger zone,
Okay,
right?
all right.
But
I
if
can see
somebody's
that.
just like that, they just do one of those to themselves.
Or what about a walking silent one? Because that's happened where I haven't pushed at all and I'm walking and it
that's-
comes out.
If you're moving, because you're helping it flow.
Yeah,
You're
I
spreading
think
it. That's worse.
the motion of the environment plays a lot into it. If everybody's
Yeah.
stationary, like
Don't.
you can't really.
Just don't.
Yes.
You got to try to
If you're in
hold it.
line, if you're in line, don't. Just don't.
Yeah,
That's a spot. Or if you do it, expect some backlash. It's like if you use the N-word. But so, it's the same thing. It's the
I
exact
guess
same.
both you should expect backlash.
No
Yeah.
ceilings, no ceilings, no holds barred. If you're an open air market, let them fly. But if you're in any kind of close, and then the smaller the space, obviously, the more confined. Like that's, but the smaller the space, the funnier it is. So
It
if you
can
only
be
care about
funny.
how funny it is,
Yeah,
then
it's also dependent on your audience.
Yeah. Well, and
Oh,
we're
no.
talking, I'm
Oh,
talking
no.
etiquette. I'm not talking,
So John,
oh no.
your lady can't smell them, right?
Yeah.
But if you do it in public and you go, oh, do you point? I go, oh my God.
Yeah, he will do that. He will be in the
I'll
grocery
make a
store.
really loud fart.
And then he'll lift his leg, he'll do like the whole thing, and then he'll like look at me. I'm like, God, like And I'm like, thanks.
Yeah. So
And no matter what case, Dom, you make for it not being you, the initial suspicion is just all dumped on you and you can't shake it.
Yeah. Because there's no, I mean, and really, you're not going to get any satisfaction from finding out. But do you? And also, sporting events, I think, are also another thing that, like, it's a really hit or miss thing because there's a lot of smells.
Yeah, there's a lot
Like
going
people
on.
are drunk.
But that's again
yeah.
open air most of the time. I mean,
Most of the time,
lightning,
yeah.
I guess, is not.
So have you had that problem where like you guys were it like you, or is it just you in particular? Like you haven't embarrassed her like farting really loud, but like you.
No.
Like she can still hear them.
Yeah, she's not deaf.
Yeah.
She's not completely impaired. You have like she has senses. Just
yes.
the one is missing.
I wonder how that affects, like I said, like the things that she eats. Like,
Yeah.
how does that taste to you? Because it does, like, because I would think that you obviously use both of those senses.
I think her sense of taste is somewhat reduced because
Wouldn't
of
it
it.
be cool if you can get her like a nose plug? You know, like those videos where like they get the people the glass. It makes me fucking cry every time. They get the glasses. The colorblind people get glasses where they can see color for the first time. Have you ever seen those videos? That's a wormhole you should go down if you want to fucking sob like a baby.
Okay.
Like,
sometimes I do.
So
yeah, sometimes you need a good cry.
So you go. It's like there's one where it was like a 60-something-year-old dude, like grandpa's like birthday, and they had like colorful balloons outside. They were outside at sunset, and they're out in the country, and they go like, "Oh, here's some glasses. We got you some new glasses." He's like, "What are these?" And like this was before this was a trend even. So this guy was like, "What the?" He's like, and he took them out, and they kind of look like shitty
Ray-Bans,
like Ray-Ban, like no Oakley's kind of like the wraparound ones.
Oh, like rec specs.
Yeah, like CVS cool glasses.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, "What are these?" And he puts them on, and he starts like shaking, and he like covers his mouth, and he's like looking everywhere, and it's like, and
everyone was wearing colorful stuff too. Like there was balloons, but like everyone wore a lot of bright things.
Yeah, it was like, I'm like, oh, like those. Could you imagine getting her like a nose plug, where like she could eat a fajita and just be like, oh my god, this is what I've been missing.
Or then she smells John's farts, like, oh, this is what
she's like, all right, you can have this back.
Yeah, I don't want this.
He's like, Pat, have you heard anything I said about I can fart anytime I want?
He's like, why am I gonna give her nose plugs that she can smell?
I don't know.
Man.
I think that is kind of cool though.
Yeah. That reminds me, you describing that story. If that's like an early video, then I believe it, but I've become very cynical in in YouTube specifically, and like reaction videos.
This was that's what I'm saying. This was before this was a like that, because now people are exploiting it. Now people are doing it to like kids in like school. I'm like, don't make a kid, because a kid cried too, obviously, because it's beautiful. But also that guy went 60 fucking years without ever seeing color. And then you do this beautiful scene, like he's like seeing his like the fruit of his loins. They're lined up wearing these beautiful blouses. He's got balloons everywhere. He just had probably his favorite meal because it's his birthday. He knows he's gonna get blown later. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's his birthday. It's an occasion. It's beautiful. And this guy, but like not the kid. Would I specify it? There was a 6-year-old.
I think that's clear enough. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I exploited. The right person was being exploited here, but the old man, like, and he wasn't putting it on, but I totally know, like, that's it. That and the adoption papers. I get it, but there's like a whole line of videos of like kids that are given like a present, like, oh, we got one more present for you. Here you, and they opens it up.
Like those?
No, and then they open it up in their adoptions because now it feels exploitive.
Yeah. I think you get to enjoy like the oldest video of that genre because like it's probably genuine. But once you start seeing people doing the exact same thing, I just get very suspicious of the whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
My lane that YouTube serves to me is like classical composer reacts to Black Flag. And like
that's
you
cool.
watch this video and it's this guy who's like, wow, this is actually very interesting musically. And it's like, you don't think that. Shut the fuck up. Like compose like these counter melodies for French horns. You don't like Sum 41. Stop acting like it. You're doing it. For
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. You're not. And also like way too late on the Sum 41 train. Like there was somebody I saw that it was the newest version. I think that at least that's being presented to me. I know that it has existed for a long time. Or like a group of young black youths hanging out, watching, reacting to classic music or something like that. So
like heavy metal, like Metallica and shit.
One of them was I didn't watch it, but one of the choices was reacting to Van Halen's Eruption, and I'm like, yeah, it's a guitar solo. They're like, they're gonna hype it up or gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be real because it almost looks like they just bring a change of clothes and then just film a bunch of these. They stockpile some content. They get and like there's a couple that maybe they're genuinely reacting, but they do one from Michael McDonald's. What's the song? Anymore.
Is that?
I'm trying to think of the.
I don't know any of his songs by name, and they also sound
the one
pretty
that
similar.
Warren G sampled. Warren G samples for Rough Riders.
Oh, okay, yes,
or whatever it's called. But they like, and one of them brings it up in the video, and like they're kind of like, "Ooh, okay, yeah." Like they do this, like but it's also like it just feels after a while. It's like, are you still that hyped about it? Because it doesn't.
There's no way.
It doesn't have a lot of layers to it. That song isn't very dynamic. Like, you know what I mean? Like the song choice to that didn't feel like very genuine. But I did find the video. This is the one I was talking about. I want to show you real quick.
Okay.
I want to get your genuine reaction.
Wait, so I'm reacting to these guys reacting to Michael McDonald.
No, this is we're back to the colorblind.
I'm forcing you to. I'm forcing you to react to this. I'm forcing you to do the thing that you didn't want to do. Hold on.
Okay.
Genuine reaction.
Wait, so I'm reacting to these guys reacting to Michael McDonald.
No.
Sorry, we had layers there.
Than you.
God damn it.
Like a brother.
There we go. Okay. And look at it. He almost looks like a cartoon character turned into a real life man. He looks like a Pixar version of a dad.
He does. Yeah.
I was going to guess.
Don't guess. You're going to guess wrong.
He does look like a bodybuilder. Right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Like strong man mustache. Hold on, let me go
Yeah.
full screen on this bitch. There we go. Look, see barefoot dad just standing outside of his fucking house.
This is in South Carolina.
Yeah, this guy probably built this trailer with his own two hands.
The other, I don't
There's a
know.
Confederate flag just out of frame.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We're not talking, John. We're not talking about that part right now. Okay, John. Like it's still
Sorry,
a
I
fucking
have to make
UPS
jokes
box.
so that I don't feel anything
Oh, John,
when this
John,
happens.
there is no way you're not going to feel something.
No, it's package tape.
Also, I don't. Do the captions help or not help? Do you think?
No, they help because it's a little hard to hear.
Okay. Well, there's not a lot happening right now. They're just kind of standing there awkwardly. Color and like I love the subtle like color, like a little bright purple balloon here,
Yeah.
bright flowers.
I could probably still outrun you.
That mustache.
Yeah. By the way, I got the age. He's a 66-year-old man. This is his 66th birthday. Have you seen this?
I think so. Yeah.
You've seen this one?
Yeah.
But I have a possibly stupid question.
No such thing.
Yeah. No such thing.
So he's seeing color for the first time. Does that mean like typically he sees in black and white or
Mhm.
monochrome
Yeah,
or
like
like
this is-
reduced color? Okay.
Yeah. This is like the classic colorblind.
Okay.
Like everything's gray.
Got it.
Come on now. There we go. Where'd it go? There it is. And they wrapped it. Okay, so this was wrapped and then sent.
Do you want the No, just rip the box. Come on, man.
Well, this is awkward dad opening presents in front of people energy. You know what I mean? He's like, why are you fucking filming me?
I'm surprised he didn't instantly produce a pocket knife because that's such a dad move with presents.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. Or
Yeah.
somebody hand him a pocket knife.
This is how I dress and kind of look like this is how I'll look, God willing, in about 30 years. Literally 30 years.
Literally.
Yeah, he's like, it's probably said something like, enjoy the view. You know what I mean? Like there's probably a still a little message that he's probably like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Didn't read it out loud. Dads never read cards out loud.
No.
Dads open the card, they look at it, they go, thank you very much. Thank you.
I love you too.
Thank you. I love you too. Thanks, bud.
Thanks.
Like, yeah, they do this. Thank you.
Yeah. That's dad energy for
Yeah.
sure.
He's like glasses.
From all of us. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, baby.
And these
From all of
glasses
us.
are like $700.
Yeah, these
like
are-
they're insanely expensive.
Okay.
Listen,
insanely
no
expensive.
joke. Get ready to react, John.
My grandfather was colorblind. We would have totally have done this.
Damn.
Yeah, Papa.
Fuck.
Whoa.
How does it look?
Weird.
Look at the balloon. Can you see with our eyes now, baby? What colors you see?
Those.
Those.
You see colors now?
You see collars now?
Oh my god.
Yeah, see, there she
Oh,
goes.
man.
She's reacting.
Look at him.
I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Now you have rose colored glasses, baby.
oh.
Now you see with our eyes.
He's trying. He's
You look
fuck
at
everything
those.
he can do
Look
not
at
to
him.
cry, and he's wearing
Oh, yeah.
sunglasses.
Can you imagine? Oh.
66 years. I like. Yeah, I like that too. Like the transition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just looking back and forth.
He's like,
Turn around. What about the flowers in the house?
Oh.
He's like, stop looking at me, you fucking.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking beer.
Oh man, you can just tell by his body language. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is real.
This,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
That's
This
what I'm
is
saying,
genuine. Yeah, this one's genuine.
This is the shit I need, John.
Doesn't look like mud.
doesn't look like blood.
It looks like brighter mud.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Somebody's getting a blowjob
He's like, it's like,
tonight.
oh, there's a camera here.
He was like, "Oh, there's a camera."
They might be 69ing.
that's
I'll tell you what.
that's good.
Close this down.
Oh,
That's powerful stuff.
yep.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him forever.
Yep. That's essentially that's the lane that, like, I don't know if it's a makes me feel good, but it's the kind that
Yeah.
I'm just like it's at least like at least people are there, like it was a time where there was a genuine reaction captured.
Yeah.
Like that is and I feel like they genuinely, and really, if you think about it, look, I know what you're saying. How could you exploit that genuine moment and the beautiful expression of gratitude and also just like genuine excitement? Like you said, him like wringing his hands and like clapping and
He
shit
didn't
like
even
that.
know what to do with
Mhm.
himself.
Yeah, he was so excited but yeah, you got to post that video because you got to make some of that money back. You monetize that, you get that viral, get him on Ellen or something or whatever. I don't give a shit. Like get him trending at least to say like army dad brought to tears, and he's like, go out there and be like, yeah, it was a beautiful moment and didn't look like mud, blah blah. Now we're selling doesn't look like mud t-shirts. Like,
Yeah.
so ungenuine, and it sucks now. Like it sucks that, but like that's one that I know for sure was like at least a real reaction. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think about the ethics of that a lot, like the sharing of it versus
Yeah.
the capturing and keep it private, because obviously like there is kind of a pure good to gain by sharing it, by letting other
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
experience it. But it's very easy for that to turn kind of insidious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I don't know where that line is. I think it's moving all the time depending on
Yeah.
on what.
I think once it starts getting into the kid, once kids are starting to being like, when they're like caught up in those trends, I feel like that's when it's like,
Yeah.
that might be a little much. So
Like kind of yeah.
I'm sorry, but we talked about kind of what Dom's been nerding out about, but we got a question from Instagram from Kyle Shahan, and
Okay.
he asks, "What do you nerd out about?"
I nerd out about a lot of music based stuff, whether it's writing music or if I'm working, I just have YouTube playing. It's like people talking about gear, old guitars, or like kind of music production techniques and stuff like that. I nerd out about that. I also nerd out about really pretentious, like film school movies.
Okay. Like what?
I like 2 nights ago, I watched this movie, the name of which I can't even really pronounce. It was just voted like the best movie of all time by some critics poll last December. It's called like Jeannie Dealman, and it has her address in the name of it. It's almost 3.5 hours of a woman kind of doing her daily chores. And it's like, it is like, I don't recommend anybody watch this unless it sounds like something you'd be into. Like,
right.
It is not an accessible movie. It is really like watching paint drying. But once you kind of get like locked into the hypnosis of it, like an hour in, I was like, why am I watching? I should probably just turn this off. 2 hours in, I was like looking for every detail of like, holy shit, this is like amazing. Like, so like obscure, weird, fucking pinky turned up movies I can really nerd out about.
That is a very interesting movie. So it wasn't even like time lapsed. It was just, I mean, okay, it was like an amount, like a collection of them, or was it her acting?
Just her day to day.
It's acting, like it's fiction. It's not like a documentary. And part of it is like she's a sex worker, and so like there'll be a quick scene of like somebody of like a client coming in and then leaving, but then that's such a tiny part of it. Then like her son comes home from school and she makes dinner. There's like 15-minute scenes of her cooking dinner in silence, just in her room. There's like no soundtrack. And I just think like,
oh, that's interesting.
So it's like almost like ASMR meets like like film culture.
That is exactly what it is.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see getting into that.
Yeah. What about you? What are you like nerding out about? Like pottery, obviously, but have you been the book? What about the book?
Yeah, the book.
Oh yeah, what is the book?
When this broad gets on a book, man, I'll tell you what.
Well, it's a series called The Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's
Court of Thorns and Roses. Okay.
Yeah, and it's fantasy. So
it's fantasy.
Yeah, it's fantasy. So like,
are we talking like
phase?
Are we talking like elves and mages fantasy? Are we talking like historical knights fantasy?
No, it's more like, it's like they're fairies, but they're magical. So like they're fae in a makeup world, like makeup world. But there's different courts, and it's cool because the way that the lands are broken up, there's the seasons, and then there's like the solar courts. So they have like summer, spring, autumn, winter, and then they have night, day, dawn. What else? And then there's humans. There are humans in it. So it's essentially like the humans are slaves. It's really not relevant, but like what's happening right now of like, not people are worth things, and we have to fight for the people that can't fight for themselves. And a lot of women's empowerment of like one of the two main characters. She's a warrior. She's like one of a kind. No one's like her. And then this man that she originally is with he loves her so much that he like locks her up to protect her, but she's like, I don't want this. So then she goes to this other guy, and he was like, you have choice. You get to do whatever you want. You are my equal. Like there's a lot of like that type of empowerment.
Is that what you're saying about like it's relevant of the time?
Yeah.
I was gonna say also
like the theme of it.
It was also last night, and it's daytime now, and they have
it's winter
in the book. Yeah, and it's winter.
All the things, but it stays that way in those places. So there's the Court of Nightmares. There's a Court of Nightmares. So that's the other thing that I really like about it is it's extremely gory. So it's like there's a lot of torture and like mind fuckery, and it's pretty intense.
that's very creative to have like these very different ideas and concepts that aren't usually compared against each other to be representative of like these different factions.
Yep.
Like autumn versus nightmares versus summer versus morning. Like
And then you think like, you're in spring, so you're in the court of spring and it's beautiful. Like, everything is just like picturesque, but like what's lying underneath is like really not great. And then when you go into the night court, where it is, that's where you think, I mean, the Court of Nightmares is in there as well, which is really bad.
John Larroquette.
Oh,
the show.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Night Court. Sorry.
Oh,
I was like, oh, now you got my attention. Remember both?
But they
brought it back.
But they sent spoiler if anyone's reading this book. But then they are the night is good. Like they're like you would think like, okay, this is gonna be a really bad place, and it ends up being
it's actually good.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Question for you guys. If it's not too personal, what's the most recent nightmare you've had?
Ooh.
Do you remember them frequently?
I know that I had one.
I don't have them often. Like it's not like a thing where maybe it's just the possible, maybe it's marijuana use. I don't know exactly, but I don't remember a lot of dreams.
I know that I had one recently, but I think, like Pat cheated on me. Like that was, I woke up crying. I was like, do you love me? Don't leave me.
So I left.
Yeah, then he left.
And then you're just like inexplicably pissed at him the rest of the day. And Pat's just wondering like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing that like it's always the kind of reoccurring, not reoccurring in the sense that like I don't have reoccurring nightmares often, but like I'll have ones that like I jump awake or something like that. Like, or I'm like in just an awkward situation.
Well, no, it did happen recently that you woke up and I said, what were you dreaming? And you're like, I don't know.
I don't,
but like that was recent that you like started whatever. I can't say it.
Yeah. I startled myself awake.
Yes.
And
then I said like, what were you like, what was it? And you were like, I don't know.
Well, I remember waking up and going like, we have to go to bed.
Oh, that's what it was.
Like, but like that
and
was.
I said, what happened? We are in bed.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know.
I think I honestly, actually, if I may, I think I do remember recently having a dream where one of the cats like got out or something like that. Like we lost one of the cats or something like that. And like, that's a fear of mine of like not having, but really it's just manifestations of like,
stress,
realistic day-to-day stress and fears. Like, not.
What about you, John?
Yeah. What about you?
I went a long time without having a lot of dreams that I remembered, but in moving into this new apartment with my girlfriend, I think like environment changes,
for sure,
often influence me having much more vivid dreams. And I'm still kind of like, I mean, it's been like 4 months or so now, but I think my subconscious is still settling into this being home.
Yeah.
So I've been having a lot of dreams where I am exceedingly late to get on a flight, or I'm like hundreds of miles away from an airport and the flight is boarding now. And I'm like panicking trying to get there.
Yeah.
That is very common for me because I'm also I'm not a chill traveler. I hate, I hate it across the board. So that happens a lot. But the last 2 nights, this isn't really a nightmare. This is just weird. 2 nights in a row, I had a dream that I shit my pants. And but like it wasn't like a panic situation where I was like, oh no, it was more like, oh, now I gotta find like a bathroom. I shit my pants. Like, like I hope nobody finds out about this, but you know, there are other things to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why am I dreaming that I'm shitting my pants? That's never been a thing in my life before.
It's a weird thing that like I think the environment thing is correct. Like like for some reason at one point, I think it was only when we were living in the apartment that I was like I would like sleepwalk or something like that.
No, you did in the house
really?
too.
Did I?
Yeah.
What house?
The house we lived in Florida before we moved here.
Yeah, so maybe it was just Florida in general.
Well, and that's where, well, you didn't, I don't think you told me that you slept walk when we were in the apartment. When I sleep, I'm like out, like nothing disturbs me. Yeah. And then when we were in that last house before we moved up here, you said that you kept waking up on the couch.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know you left. He was like, yeah, I guess I'm sleepwalking. And he
Whoa.
would wake up on the couch. And that scares me because my sister growing up, my little sister, she had night terrors. So that was often we shared a room. So she would like wake up screaming, telling me to stop punching her. And I was like, oh.
Oh my God.
I wasn't a great big sister. I was a little bit of a bully, but she would sleepwalk too. And my uncle was living with us at the time, and he had like third shift. So he had just come home. So it was like the middle of the night. And my sister walked out of the room, and they say, don't wake them up. You want to, like, if anything, you kind of just turn them. Like if they're like walking out the front door,
one wet willy.
no, they can really get all disoriented and fucked up if you wake them up. So
oh, so that is true. Like, do not wake up.
Yeah, you're not supposed to wake up anybody that's
okay.
sleepwalking. You just try to like slowly maneuver them, back to their room or safety, whatever.
You'll be fine.
But we had a like chain lock and a deadbolt, and she unlocked both and walked right out the front door. So he wanted to see like, like she was safe. He was watching her, but he was like, where is she going? What is she doing? And then she started to walk down to the end of the driveway. And then he was like, all right. So then he kind of turned her around, and then she walked back in the house and then went right back to bed. And
that is terrifying, like for her safety.
Right. And so when he told me that was happening, I started to panic a little bit. Like, what if he just walks out the front door? Because it was a chain and a deadbolt. So like she knew to open both of those. And like I said, so she was second grade. So she's probably like 8.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The human brain is fascinating and also broken in so many different ways.
It's terrifying. It is absolutely
we just
terrifying.
ignore.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's more of an experience of thinking like what it's the consciousness thought of it is really interesting, of like just shutting off your consciousness for a period of time, and then but like still being able to move and react and act and all this other stuff, and then come back at some point, like whatever it was, because like I am somebody who believes in like paranormal stuff, or whatever you may like call it, like
energy or
anything really. Like legitimately, I'm somebody who thinks it's as ridiculous to be an atheist as it is to be like a Christian. Like to really truly think anything is fucking stupid. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
that's what do whatever, because of just personal experiences. Speaking of dreams, I actually just talked about this on a podcast I was a guest on. I had this dream when I was a kid, like probably maybe between 5 and 7. I want to say like I was young. I was a little kid. Like I was in my room. It was at the time I still shared a room with my 2 older brothers in the first house we grew up in. And I just woke up out of nowhere, out of a dead sleep. And I could just hear like panic, like talking, like rushing around, like people rushing around a room, and like beeping, and like it's like sounded like an emergency room or something like that, like an emergency room operating table or something, because people are panicking, like cursing, like yelling at each other, like and I was just like, what the fuck? And I like but my eyes were open, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like in my room, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
But you're hearing all of that?
It's like as clear as like I'm in that room.
Wow.
Whoa.
So like, what the fuck? And I like cover my ears because it was like loud, and I was like this, and I was just like I could hear it like better. Like it was like I was drowning out the real noise. Like I wasn't getting. It was almost like
because it was in your head.
Yeah, it's in my head.
And then you trapped it by closing your ears.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything. Like I'm touching stuff, and I couldn't hear that. I could just hear what was happening, whatever there. And I'm like looking at other people. I'm like looking at my brothers, and they're not even reacting. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like looking around, like, and also we grew up in Florida, and we're trash. We are trash. And we only had one wall unit in the living room, and we just closed all the windows in the house and just hoped that it would
The AC.
it would, the AC would kind of like filter through all the other rooms. So we had a wall unit. So sometimes I would wake up and just lay down in the doorway of our room to get some of that cool air going through the hallway. But like, I was just kind of like looking, like, I'm just like, for what felt like forever, which was maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. And I started kind of panicking because it wasn't stopping. And then like, and then whatever happened, like it just eventually just kind of started to like go, like I kind of maybe went back to sleep, and like it kind of like just that, like I just tried to ignore it. Essentially, I just kind of tried to just treat it like whatever, and just so, and like I have no idea what the hell that was. Like I have no experience, I have no explanation for it.
Yeah,
but it was not a dream. It wasn't like sleep paralysis. I was walking around my room like I was awake.
Well, you might have been like half sleepwalking, you know, like where you're like, you're still like you're in half dream, but you're awake, but you're not fully conscious. Like you're kind of stuck in, but it's interesting that like your brain does kind of click over. Like you have a consciousness.
Like it was almost like
then,
it was half
like,
clicked.
Yeah.
Like I was only like halfway back to reality, but like I was still hearing maybe whatever dream I was having. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't, but I was definitely awake. Like I was awake and I was looking around and I was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't want to wake anybody up because it's also one of those things that like I don't know how I'm going to die, John, but I do know that it's most likely going to be from something that is like easily avoidable, and I just don't want to be embarrassed. So like it's going to be a situation where I'm just like, I'm not having a heart attack. Come on.
Yeah, that will totally be you.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like,
100%.
Whatever. Like
not in the middle of Walmart.
Too late. Yeah, I
don't want to be a bother.
I'm happy right now. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
That only happens. I've seen it on shows. It only happens when there's a stressful thing happening. So it's like the same idea where like I never did anything to address it. The same thing with the sleepwalking. It just eventually stopped.
Well, and that's why I thought you were sleepwalking last night. Cause I was like, what are you doing? Because you just got up because I was reading my book until like 2 a.m. And he got up.
She was at night. She was at night.
What were we doing last night?
We were watching TV.
No. I'm saying in the book, like where we were. I don't think we were at night yet.
Oh, it's like, what did we do last night? What did we do?
No, we were in the summer court because Highburn had come and fuck shit up. So we're in summer court.
But then I just popped up out of a dead sleep.
And then he was standing because we plug our phones on the other side of the room. So he was over by
that's such a good idea.
And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I had an idea. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he was writing down his idea. And I was like, okay, you're conscious, like you're fully awake.
You describing that story just gave me the idea of like, I really hope that there is some form of an afterlife.
Yeah.
Solely because I want to be able to rewind the tape and be like, what happened there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That memory, like I remember it, was something different. Was that something weird? Like there are a lot of things like that where I just want to see what happened again.
Yeah. I would love like that. Everybody has those feelings.
Like you get to watch your movie.
Yeah.
Like
there's going to be a lot of skips.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do not want to relive that.
21 to 26. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But,
that's a good, I'm looking back at that age, pretty embarrassing.
Really? That was around the time we got married. Really nice. Really nice.
Oh, you're right. I'm not thinking of that time. We got married when I was 22. So the embarrassing would be there was some embarrassing stuff there too, but not you. But yeah, I guess it would be like 17 to 20 probably.
No, I would like there like the traditional, I think like Christian thing is like you stand before St. Peter and they read you your whole life. You go over all of your life or something. I'm like, cool. Like that. Yeah. Honestly, it's one of those things of like, oh, remember this time you masturbate? Like, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna need some comfy chairs if we're gonna do all the masturbating.
Get settled in, buddy. Because if you want
a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Can you put some coffee on?
Hit play.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure people can be like ashamed of, but I'm more of like thinking, what is, so I had a theory which was like an idea for like forever ago of like of what dreams like are actually just basically you transfer, like when you dream, you're visiting an
Mhm.
alternate dimension and you're just in their reality. So when they dream, they visit our reality, and that's what ghosts are. So like essentially
Whoa.
when we go to
Mhm.
their reality, the reason everybody's running around screaming or there's like you don't have your pants on or this or something, like it's because you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
You're visiting them, and that's why everybody's freaked out or not freaked out or whatever. Like whatever dimension you're in is reacting to you being there. So like when we see a shadow person, oh, what was that? Like that was just somebody going like, oh, what the fuck? That guy just saw me. You know what I mean? Like, and like and then they wake up and they go like, was that in a room somewhere? Like that's why sometimes things look familiar. Sometimes you have deja vu, is because you've experienced like this. I would love to know if that there's any validity to that theory, or the power of like, one of the other wormholes that I've been going through is like, I've never heard the term before, but icebergs of
Like
like
iceberg charts.
of like no like I guess like it's almost the same idea as a rabbit hole, but it's basically where like you see this much information, but there's a lot when you start digging, like a lot
Yeah.
more when you get down. So one of them was that consciousness doesn't exist, and it's kind of like it kind of reminds me of like a weird thought that I had when I was a real. These are the things I was thinking of when I was like a kid, which
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm not trying to say like, isn't it cool how weird I was like, explains a lot. These are the thoughts that I was like genuinely thinking was like, what, like, do we really have like memory, or like is there really a present, or are we always just remembering what just happened? Like it, because no matter
Oh,
what,
like, is that how we experience the world?
yeah, exactly. Like technically there is no real present for me. It's just like, oh, I'm hearing the things I just said, but you know what I mean? Like it's almost like
Yeah.
it's a weird
But
kind of
because you're moving forward, so you think present is like paused?
like that would give validity to somebody that believes there's absolutely no afterlife. But I'm like, but you're always remembering something. There always seems to be something there that's like reacting to things that you're saying or doing. Like
Mhm.
that's what feels like there is kind of like, okay, or maybe you are just remembering, like you're just reacting to stuff. You're being matrixed or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those are the iceberg things that people go down, like where they're like, oh, there's no consciousness. But this kid that does these lists that I've been watching is like, there's no consciousness. They just believe that blah 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 blah, and then he just moves on to the next thing.
Is it Wendy Goon?
It might be. Hold on.
He's kind of like a 20 something like burly guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, hold on. Let me see if
I think I've watched hours worth of this guy's videos. I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
But
It's-
like speaking of consciousness, what was that movie with Tom Hanks with the robot? Was it Finch?
AI?
No, it's like an Apple movie.
It was on Apple
Apple
TV.
TV movie.
But
that
it was
just
good,
came out.
and it just he created a, like, spoiler alert if anyone whatever wants to watch it, but he the world ends. He's all
Finch.
by himself. Finch.
Okay.
The world has ended. He's by himself, and he has a dog, and he is like an engineer, and he creates a robot that can take care of his dog because he's dying. Like he knows that, the food source is gone, but he loves this dog so much that he makes a robot to be able to continue to take care of him. But then, and what he does is he has all these books at his disposal. So he like copies them, puts them into the system so that it goes to the robot. But then the robot like ends up learning, essentially has a conscious, and like loves the dog, and like has like builds this relationship with them. But so I think a consciousness does exist, and it can even exist in a AI like format or whatever. I don't know. And that's where it gets scary, where we have robots and then it's like, oh, we're giving them all this information and now they're going to be able to whatever, fend for themselves.
Yeah. I think AI in general is pretty scary.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are continuing to develop it further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
What if we just
yeah.
all agreed to stop?
Right. Right.
But
Right.
like
Right.
you can't get everybody to agree on something, especially if one person can gain monetarily by doing that thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's always going to do it.
For
So it's
sure.
almost like
The thing that I
Yeah.
feel like we're kind of creating, like, so if there is, there's like, people are continuing, like, so again, with consciousness, people want to like upload their consciousness to like AI, to computers and things like that, to live forever, essentially, to continue life even after their material body dies or whatever, biological. So if that's the case, why would you have things like what's the thing, chat CPT, that
Yeah.
thing that people, the AI thing that people are putting any kind of prompt into? They're like, give me Family Guy as, as sea creatures, turn all Family Guy characters into sea creatures, and they just do it, and it's just like, it looks terrifying, or it looks weird. And anytime chat CPT has been asked to make human beings, any simulation of a human being, the hands are always terrifying.
Oh yeah, they always have like extra fingers or like.
This is like, if you want to talk about terrifying. So, have you been watching The Last of Us?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
so
so good.
It's the one new show I'm actually watching.
pretty good, right? Like, it's a good
It's
show.
really good.
Are you into the video game?
I haven't played the video game, so this is all new to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
same, yeah.
We're not into it either. But I heard the people that do play the video game, that the first 2 episodes were like almost identical to what the game was. They were loving
Okay.
it.
So,
But I love that show. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
so there's a, hold on, let me see if I can find this. So people, like, in that one episode of The Last of Us, they said, like, they're saying like, oh, the cordyceps thing's going off, and like, I don't think there's any spoilers here. The cordyceps, they bring in that microbiologist lady to come in and say like, hey, like, look at this weird case. And like, isn't this weird? And she's like, they're like, what
Yes.
should we do? And she goes, bomb the city. It's it's done.
We're
Like,
done.
yeah, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Start killing as many. Where's the person that bit her? Like, we don't know. And they're like, she's like, okay, it's done. We're done. It's too late. It's over. Like, right there at like this, I think that's like episode 1 or 2.
That's the second
Yeah,
episode.
it's
Episode.
very early on.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like, it's, oh yeah, it's done. We're
Go be with your family.
yeah,
Bomb
yeah,
us.
yeah. Go be with your family, but like, go say goodbye to your
Yeah.
family, because it is over for humanity.
And
And
I think until you recounted it, the severity of that
Yeah.
whole like sequence didn't set in.
yeah, that's what really got me. That's actually what got me hooked on the show, was like that, the truth of that scene. Like, legitimately, I think that was like, that could be an Emmy Award winning scene. Like,
Yeah.
they meant it to be just a vehicle so they could tell the story, to get us back to the old man and the young girl
Mhm.
helping each other or whatever. She helps him feel and he helps her live.
Yeah.
It's fun. But I mean, when I heard about chat CPT, I was like, oh, it's too late, we're done. Because if you want to put yourself into consciousness, here I'm going to show you the fucking consciousness you're entering, the nightmare you're about to fucking enter.
Oh,
Like, look at
no.
this.
And
This is terrifying to me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so it's not like crazy, right? But look at the hands. Look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh, it's like
5,
making
So
six.
6.
what
skin
am
crawl.
what am I looking at?
These are somebody asked AI to, they said, ordinary photos of a house party are actually AI generated event. Somebody said,
So that doesn't exist.
somebody asked AI, this AI
Uh-huh.
program, create pictures of a house party. And these are what they created. Get on now. Look at this. Here's another one. These guys, look at these guys. Just a couple
With their
dudes
little
hanging out.
baby fingers.
Yeah, look at the eye. Like, the eyes are, they don't get the eyes right, so they just cheat. They're like, oh, it's poor lighting. But look at the fucking fingers again. Look at all of the fingers.
As they cheers their Yoplait yogurts.
Yeah, yeah. What the? Yeah, exactly. I didn't even realize that.
that.
Oh, there's an ad for
Yeah, they have fucking.
Wait. Okay, so I made that joke about that picture. Scroll down.
What? Oh.
Oh.
See, it's too late. I told you, John.
Oh.
But
Wait,
okay,
what does
so
that mean?
that just means that we should get some, maybe some
We
hold on,
get-
let me try it again. Activia. Nope. Target. Damn it. It's pretty good though. But look at, okay, so here's some
Yeah,
more.
what's in their hands?
Okay, so because they're at a party, they're holding up.
Well, I know, but like you're at a party and you're cheersing yogurt.
Oh, now everybody finds out
Oh.
I don't have a fucking Twitter.
Oh,
Here we go. Yeah, look. So pretty normal.
Yeah, that doesn't
But
look
look
bad.
at like his face is a little off, a
Yeah.
little frog-eyed. Like all of
Yeah.
them are, but okay, not bad, right? That could be convincing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then look at this one.
Yeah, how he's holding the cup.
3, 4, 5.
Or
And
they
then
both
has
hold
5 fingers. How about that? How about he has 5 fingers, not including the thumb? And then look at this guy.
Oh,
It's just like it's just and then like
Yeah.
so then I just picture being in that room
And it's
just
white dudes.
yeah,
When
look
you
at-
so you just say house party and this is what
look at
comes
this.
up.
Look right here.
Yeah.
Look at this. What the fuck is this, man?
it's a
What the
floating orb
fuck
of a fingertip.
that is terrifying. But this guy looks pretty cute.
Look at his shirt.
His shirt is weird though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Look at his
Right.
weird titty abs or whatever. His
Ooh,
abs are
yeah.
up here. So like,
Hmm.
I don't mean to body shame the AI, but
it's just
okay.
interesting. That's what it can. Okay, here's a little diversity.
Yeah, you're still worried about
Yeah, like-
diversity and the AI takeover.
It's just interesting that like because like you said, it's pulling from the internet. Like it's
Okay,
yeah.
pulling resources. So what are the resources that it's pulling? So if you say a house party, why like now I'm
Only
just
white
wondering,
people
why
house
do you-
party.
right? Like, but house party, a movie was that's all
Yeah.
black people,
Hidden play.
right? Like I don't know. It's just interesting.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now, so just that, those are just a couple examples, but look at some more examples of AI hands.
And here's the thing, like the people who develop this software, they will fix these bugs,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I myself am a software developer. That's my day job. And I know that there are always bugs.
Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
always some weird case where something's going to go wrong. Like it's a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
There's
think
always going to be something off about it.
it's cool because like so I have a neighbor, a downstairs neighbor that is doing he was kind of telling me, he's like, oh, I got the screen printer. I'm gonna start doing like clothes for people. Like people can put in orders. I'll make design, like they can give me a design or I can make a design for them or whatever. But then one day he stopped me when I was going upstairs and he starts telling me about, oh, there's this really cool AI thing where you can put in, and then like he just kind of just starts naming a bunch of like licensed stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, you could put in fucking Stewie as a mailman or something like that. And you're like, yeah, but Stewie is like a copywritten. You can't just sell clothes. Like, I'm like, I didn't bring that up, but I was just kind of like, yeah, that's cool, man. Like, and it was like weird because then I was like, wait a minute. So what do you do in this situation? You literally just think, oh, what would be a cool design? Think of it. The AI creates it, and then you see how many you can sell, and then print that many.
Wouldn't it be considered a parody?
And
That
that's
you
what I'm
would be
saying.
able to get away with
That's the
it?
problem.
Yeah.
Like that's the issue of like, it's like that's what AI is creating when they're asked to create humans, is they're creating like a
Mhm.
parody of a human. And it's like this right here, like that would be a great fucking lens for a horror movie, or
Mhm.
like a good like perspective for that's the creature, whatever it is. It's like this weird thing that has like extra fingers that doesn't like, that is human-esque, almost like
Yeah.
Android style, but like it's a weird fucking thing that like that it just it's like you said, just a minor glitch. It's just a thing where like, oh, it doesn't get the eyes right or it doesn't get the hands right or whatever, but everything else is so perfectly detailed.
Yeah.
It's just
Why
like,
is
what?
that?
Who
off?
has 17 fingers on one hand? And where did you see that you got that information? So the same way that people like every once in a while they'll say like, oh, put in, and they'll say like, hey, we'll have a chat AI or whatever write us a story about something, and it turns out to be super eerie and dark and scary.
Yeah.
I just it's a weird thing that like it's too late. You're already, that stuff now exists in the internet. It used to be at a slower pace when they just go like, oh, we invented Slender Man. Now,
Yeah.
and that it was really slower, and people just kind of built it up over time. But now people are like, show me Freddy Krueger if he was like 3 times as strong. Like, what? Why would you do that? Now that just exists now.
My nephew did that. My aunt has a
Oh, this kid's fucking crazy. This kid is nuts.
like Alexa,
yeah.
and he kept saying like, Alexa, show me
a snake fighting a bear.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
And we were like, hold on, no, Alexa, don't show that. That might be a little bit.
Yeah, do not give
But he
him
was
that.
like, show me a hippo, a cross between like a hippo and a crocodile, or like he was just mashing different like animals together. And I thought it was funny, but then to think about it in this context is like, oh man,
it's
that's
too late.
crazy.
You got to bomb the internet.
But it does go to show that like children's minds work in such bizarre and creative ways that I think kind of get stamped out of us as we get older.
Yeah.
Which is a little unfortunate.
Well, and I always ask, like, I try, my nephew is 8. So he's at that like perfect age where you can like really have a conversation, and he's, he's aware. And I like asking questions that I'm like, what do you think of that? Like, why do you like that? And just kind of like, I don't know, I just like it. Or he'll go off into like a tangent of why. And I'm like, interesting. Like, just to see like how their brains work, because it's constantly growing and evolving. But just like, what's your thought process that got you there is really interesting. I really enjoy conversations with him because their minds are bonkers. I'm like, where did you come up with that? How do you even know that? Like, where is that from?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's any real issue with that a lot of times, but like I kind of get that sometimes they're a little too honest at that age too.
Oh yeah, no, they have no filter. They don't know what's like.
I don't
not ethical, but what's the word?
Kind.
Kind.
Yeah,
like
they're real
like
dickheads.
it is what it is. Like they don't know what is it? Not ethics. What is the word I'm looking for? Not empathy. Like you go to the class where they teach you how to
etiquette.
Etiquette. And they don't know etiquette.
Yeah.
Hey, I got one. How about that, motherfucker?
You did it.
I knew a word.
They don't know etiquette. They just like, they just say it as it is. There's no emotion to it. It's just literally stating fact. Like, your hair looks weird. Why does your face look like that? Why are they fat?
You just resurrected another like ancient childhood memory of me. My parents were having some sort of party, and I complimented somebody on the fact that they smelled good. And my dad was like, don't ever tell somebody how they smell. And I was like, yeah, now you realize like it's a weird compliment to receive. But like when I was a kid, I was like, why can't I tell somebody that they smell good? I'm not saying that they smell like farts.
And,
right.
I can understand, because maybe he wanted to just establish that precedent now. To be like, you smell good. You smell like Cheetos. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh no.
I remember my dad he had a carpet. He owned his own carpet store. So he would go in and do like estimates and stuff. And he would take me with him sometimes. And we went to a house and I was with them, and I must have been like 4 or 5. I was really little. And they were in the other room, like measuring. And I went into the ladies' kitchen, opened her fridge, and started eating grapes. My dad lost it. He was like, what are you doing? You don't do that. And she was like, oh, no, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. But I'm just a kid. They left me in the living room, and I was just like, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah. What else would you do?
What else would I do? I didn't think anything of it. So I just went in, and I'm the fridge is open. I'm standing there eating grapes. And she thought it was
so
the
funny.
funniest thing. I think she gave me grapes like to go home with.
Yeah.
And then I got reamed one in the car of like, you never do that. That is work. Like, you don't go into people's homes like that.
It's not my fucking work, dude.
Your job, not my job. And I was
it's like, if you're a parent, I guess, what else are you going to do? Like, you have to teach that lesson somehow.
Yes. Yeah. No, you can't go into people's fridges, but it's just, you have to be taught of like manners, and like it is rude to just go into someone's home and open their fridge. But like as a kid, you're just like, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go look in the fridge. Like there's a fridge there. That's what you do. That's what a fridge is for. And we're in someone's house. You invited us here, because I do it at my grandmother's. I do it at my own house. Like,
we're welcome in all those houses. Wow.
You attacked me live.
Wow.
Not
You got
nice.
proof of that one, Chloe.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna put you down. John, I don't know how much longer you have
Yeah, we've kinda
with
taken
us.
I have
Okay.
nothing going on today.
Well, then
as
in
long
that
as you want to go.
if
I
you
mean,
had
I'm very busy and have very important projects that I must be on.
if you had to cancel one day of the week, which day would you cancel
Ooh.
personally?
Probably Tuesday.
Yeah, I think Tuesday would be a good one.
I think Tuesday is kind of like the nothing day. It has nothing going for it. Monday, I never find to be that bad because your expectation is it's Monday. It sucks. Tuesday, like, is this weird blob.
Yeah. Tuesday
really,
can fuck around and be a Monday sometimes.
yes.
For me, Wednesdays. Fuck Wednesdays.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't like Wednesdays.
I think ultimately it's kind of it's not like even like Tuesday would be like the perfect because it's like it's just it's not only do we not need that many days, but it really nothing really it used to be new music day. I remember it used
Used to be, yeah.
in my day. It was
Yeah, that was when the new CD was in the stores.
You're right.
yeah, new music and new movie day. But then they switched it to Friday, which I was like, that makes more sense to me. But I did like Tuesdays better because it made Tuesday worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than
Yeah.
that,
Friday. Yeah. Because I remember at one point it was Fridays were always new movies,
Mhm.
and then Tuesdays was always
no,
new music.
because I remember we would get the new music or when I worked at Hollywood Video, we would get the
Well, I'm
new
talking about the
movies and
theater,
stuff.
like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Harry
Oh, yeah, I was
Potter,
thinking
Twilight,
theater.
all that stuff that you would do. It would always be
On a
a
Thursday.
Thursday
Sunday.
midnight
Thursday.
showing
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
for Friday.
Yeah, I remember one. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Well, it's funny you have that. My sister just posted this thing, and I thought, I mean, it's a little whatever, like I don't know what the word is, but a dying Fred once told me, I wish I hadn't spent so many Mondays wishing it were Friday. I also wish I had made better use of those Fridays for better stories on Monday. I liked that. I liked the last sentence of I wish I had better Fridays for
And you know
more
what?
stories
You know
on
what I
Monday.
realized, John? No
What?
mention of Tuesday in that motherfucker.
No.
Yeah, because
But
it's so
you-
forgettable.
It's so forgettable.
Yeah, fuck Tuesdays, dude. Like I
Yeah.
I'm here to say it. I
Okay,
agree
fuck
with you
Wednesdays.
100% because I remember one of the weirdest Tuesdays I had. I was working, so I must have been like 16 or I must have been 17 or 18 because I was driving also at the time. And I had at least some money, but I remember at least when new CDs came out, usually the first day they came out, especially at like big chains like FYE or Specs Music at the time, I think it
Sam
was
Goody.
Sam Goody, stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
they would usually be on sale when they first came out. They'd be like $9.99 or something like that.
Mhm.
So I was like, I remember NoFX's American Errorist was coming out,
Okay.
and I was ready. I
Yeah.
was there before they opened. Like I was the first customer in. Like they unlocked the doors. I got out of my car and walked in, walked up to the CD, brought it up, and I was like, it doesn't say 99, but it'll ring up because I was always pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
It didn't. And I had like exact change for that amount of money. And I was like, fuck. And I can't remember. I was just like, all right, well, this sucks. It's my favorite band. I've been waiting months to hear this, but I guess I just won't. I'll have to get the other $3.
Yeah.
But the guy at the counter either gave me his discount or just stole from the store and just took the money and like said like you can have that. But I remember he said something really dickish like let this be like a lesson in capitalism or something like that.
What an
I
asshole.
think he was trying to be like, oh, you're buying this commie bullshit about the American era. So well,
Oh.
like, and he was just kind of like, well, I'll do you a favor, kid. I'll let you listen to this direct, but remember what really got you here. And I was just kind of like one of those things of like, I don't even know if I can enjoy this now. I did.
Yeah.
Good.
I
'cause
very
fuck
much
that
so.
guy.
Yeah. But I remember thinking like immediately going like, thanks, dick. I was like, oh, thank you, Mr. Dickhead. Like, like that a range of emotions. Isn't that crazy? And that was
Yeah.
on a Tuesday. So you know what? Fuck Tuesdays. People are dicks on
See you next Tuesday.
There you go.
A great band, but a great saying.
Thank you, Beth.
And finally, John, if I may ask, if you, sir, could
Mhm.
break one world record, but for something besides sports,
Okay.
what would it be? I don't know why that recommendation is in that question. Like there's plenty of world records you could break that aren't sports. I don't know. I don't know why that distinction had to be there. Can't be for sports. Okay, so if you were thinking how many baseballs thrown lifetime, nope.
It's funny that has the opposite effect of like now the only things popping into my mind are sports related, and I'm like,
I don't know, home run derby. Oh no, fuck. Let's see, soccer goalie of the nope.
I'm trying to think of like what are kind of other world records.
Well, I mean, really, if you think about like, so like the Guinness, so fun fact, I didn't realize this. The Guinness Book of World Records was actually is invented by Guinness, the beer, like the beer Guinness, which at first makes like, is kind of like, what the fuck? Then you're like, yeah, of course, because you would think people would say, I at a bar, you're drinking beers and you're going like, I bet you can't fucking bounce this ball in your head 78 times. And you're like, yes, I fucking can.
Yeah.
Well, how about my two extremely fat twin brothers that like to ride motorcycles next to each other in overalls? And you're like,
So say the question again.
if you could break any world record, not in sports, what would it be?
No sports.
No sports. If you think of one sport record, whew,
okay.
Like,
I think I know what mine would be because I find these people fascinating. It would be the person with the biggest collection of something.
Yeah.
So like
Legos.
Legos
Harry
would be
Potter
cool.
Legos. That's what I'm saying.
That would be very cool. I think like the weirder the thing, the more interesting. So like maybe the largest personal collection of like pre-vinyl records, the wax cylinders that like Edison invented for music. Like, I think that would be a cool record to have.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. And especially for you.
Yeah. Oh, you guys
awesome.
like vinyl? That's cute.
Yeah.
I'm a cylinder guy.
That new technology will never take off.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to die down.
Yeah. We're going back to
Yeah.
cylindrical music.
I think if I were to break a world record, I would want it to be something that like that would that
You want
somebody,
the most cats
that somebody
in a house.
wouldn't have thought of immediately, and then thought like I could do that, and then found out how hard it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, but something, honestly, I would pick something that I already kind of have a leg up on.
What's that?
I don't like something that I'm already interested in. So I would say something like, so it'd be like something like the most times farting while doing jujitsu. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, that is you.
like,
That is you.
or the most or you know what? Actually, it would be really cool to have like a record that like somebody necessarily wouldn't want to accomplish. Like I would want the most bronze medals at of jujitsu accomplishment, like something like that.
Or like most times brought to trial by jury, but always acquitted.
Yeah. Yeah, something like negative that like
where everybody's like,
want that. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, everybody's like, well, he's never convicted, but maybe we don't invite him.
Yeah, that would be a very stressful life if you're constantly.
I want a record that somebody has to like remind you that you just broke. Like to say, like, did you know that you just broke? Like, oh, what the fuck? Really? No monetary gain, but I'm in the book for like every vol. You know, there's those ones where like I could break the most watermelons with karate chop. Like it's like come on.
Yeah.
Anybody can do like this. The weird thing, I love seeing people failing at world record attempts. It's one of my favorite things.
No.
Oh, like right as they get close to surpassing it.
No. The first one. Like I like they don't even start off at the right. Like the one of the guy trying to like headbutt coconuts or some shit. Like there's like ones where there's ones. I think it was he tried to karate chop coconuts, and he's like, the record was like 109. He's like, I'm gonna do 130, and he's like, first one, nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Did he?
And it's like, you like
think he had a chance?
Apparently not.
Okay.
He did not have his katra down.
Yeah.
So I love like something in the realm of like something I already love, like comedy, martial arts, or the most podcast ever, something like that. I would like most cats, but you know, you're in the way.
Yeah, I'm very much in the way.
Oh, Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, Legos. I would love like like wall to or ceiling to floor.
Most times kicked out of a public sporting event.
That's sports related. It's not.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh
count.
God damn it! Fuck, you're right. It always goes back to that.
It does.
Actually, you know
Well,
what?
'cause I think that's
I
probably
can't
like
even do the jujitsu one either because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that's
sports-related.
sports. You're right.
Fuck.
But well, I mean, it has to do with farts though.
That's why it's in there. The
Yeah.
most times, you know what? I want to beat John's record. Most times farted in front of John's girlfriend. Like, no way, dude. I've lived with her for years. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, she'll smell his.
We're
She'll be like, "It's a miracle. I'm healed." His are so bad. I
So,
love you.
Speaking of sports, now that we can talk about it, we're past this Guinness World Record thing. We are actually, you'll be excited to hear this. We, my friend, are headed at the end of this month to see the Tampa Bay Lightning playing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, you were in for a treat.
I'm
We have
excited.
never been.
No.
And you want to know, you're a Pittsburgh fan, as well as I
Yes.
believe you grew up not in Pittsburgh, but near Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah,
Like that's the major metropolitan city that you grew up.
it is.
Metropolitan city.
People really split hairs about that. Where
Yeah.
I'll tell somebody like, "Oh, I grew up like in Pittsburgh," and they're like, "Where?" And I tell them, they're like, "That's not Pittsburgh." It's like, okay, name the next closest
Yeah,
thing that you
where-
would have
where are you
recognized.
gonna
Like,
know?
who
Right,
gives a
right.
shit if I'm
Yeah.
25 miles off? Like,
Right.
sorry, that's a pet
No,
peeve
I-
If
that
I
people
say
really.
I'm from Altoona, like you're not gonna
Yeah.
know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically say Pittsburgh. Like
Yeah.
it's so close to Pittsburgh.
So
Anyway, sorry.
Assholes.
I
No, no,
interrupted you.
so you're from there, Dom has an employee that recommended a place that we should eat when we go in and out of Pittsburgh. Can you guess the world famous eatery that she suggested that we go to?
Is it Sheets?
no,
Close, though.
That's close. That's actually very close. I thought you
Okay.
were gonna be like, oh, is it Primanti Brothers? Is it
That was my second guess. Primanti
Yeah.
Brothers.
no, it's Wendy's.
Wait, I'm a little confused. Is it a particular Wendy's that
Yes,
really
yeah, it is a
nails the
particular
bucket
one.
eater?
One particular Wendy's that offers apparently impeccable
Customer service. She
Yeah.
was like, it is the best customer service she's ever had. And when she's from Pittsburgh, so whenever she goes, that's their stop.
That's her
She-
stop.
She also has
Wendy's.
2 children. She has like a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. So
It makes sense. It's convenient.
it's convenient.
Great
It's
service.
right on and off the highway. But
Don't
when
have to
I
double
told
check the
her,
bag.
because she is a Penguins fan, so I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna go see the Lightning play, and she was like, oh, when you go, you have to go to the Wendy's, and I was like, what?
That's so funny. Oh, I love that.
I thought that was
So
funny
we're-
too.
yeah,
I was
'cause
like,
I was
babe, we
thinking-
have to go to Wendy's. We're
So-
going to Wendy's.
I was
You got to
thinking-
go.
Yeah,
Gotta
yeah,
go.
like now, yeah. I'm so like at first I was like, I thank you very much, but I've been to Wendy's.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll get a Dave's double here. We got it right over here.
Yeah.
But like then she brought it up. I'm like, yeah. I mean,
Let's check it out.
maybe on the way in, like maybe
Yeah.
like either on the way in or on the way out. But like, I'm not going to say like, all right, we're going to Pittsburgh. We're going to see the
going to
Lightning play. We're going to go to Wendy's.
I mean, it'll help the bank account for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
like, I'll
A nice
spend a little
value
bit more.
meal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll do the 5 for 5
Get a
or what is it?
$5 biggie bag or
Yeah,
something
biggie
like
bag.
that.
That's what she said. We get the biggie bags.
Like she recommended it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Get the biggie bag.
Tell him I sent you.
Send your compliments to the chef.
Yeah.
I
Ooh.
forgot about that. That was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was the greatest thing. So yeah, we're gonna go see Pittsburgh. We're definitely gonna go to Wendy's, but do you have any suggestions of places that we should visit in Pittsburgh while we're there?
Well, here's the thing. I grew up near Pittsburgh and I never
Oh, now
lived
it's
there
near
as
Pittsburgh.
an adult.
Now it's near Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah. So like people will ask me for recommendations for things in Pittsburgh and I'm really not the guy for it because like
yeah.
Well, what did you? So you went there? Did you go? You went to You've been to Pittsburgh, like at least even when you were a kid or something like that.
yeah.
Was there
yeah.
stuff that you look forward to even then? Because I'm going to let you know right now, John. I've kind of got a child's mentality.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Mentally, I'm kind of there with you.
I'm trying to think. Like
Is there a cool a zoo? Did you go to a zoo as a?
I went to the Pittsburgh Zoo once. My parents are not like zoo museum go see a thing people.
Yeah.
Never
Um,
mind.
Same. Yeah.
I mean, my recommendation would be to go to a Penguins game, and you already go to that. So
yeah,
like,
Hey, all right.
So we're there. We're there.
I'm trying to think if there's any what weird things
Is there like a cool McDonald's or something? Or...
near the University of Pittsburgh in the Oakland neighborhood. There at least was 15 years ago a magic store, magic with a K, possibly an A at the end of it, like a Eye of Newt store. Like we sell things for real magic,
witchcraft.
Yeah.
Witchcraft. And it was very close to Pitt somewhere.
Okay.
I would recommend walking in there just to see if any of the employees still have like the vampire implants. Like they had like, it was not like the plastic thing you put in your teeth.
No,
like
it was like the
actual
staff
like
there like had like elongated canine teeth.
yeah.
And I was like, that is commitment that I respect.
yeah.
And if I wanted anything here, I would patronize your store, but I don't know what any of this stuff is.
There's literally nothing. Do you have Gatorade? Can I get it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have electrolytes or anything like that? I don't. But yeah, I would check that out. So we'll check out the magic store.
Let me see if I can even like find it on Google Maps.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times when we go to these places, we go usually like museum or something like that. Or a lot of times when I was traveling a lot more for comedy and stuff, it would be like flea markets in the area, malls in the area. Like I'm just like doesn't have to be super. Actually, one time I went to the Monroeville Mall in
where they filmed Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, buddy. That was my introduction to awesome film and culture.
Okay.
Was Dawn of the Dead.
If you are into museums, I actually do have a very good museum recommendation for you. It's called The Mattress Factory.
The Mattress Factory.
It is an art museum in what used to be a factory that produced beds.
Oh, okay.
But it's just some of it's very bizarre, and it makes use of space very well, where like all the installations are kind of takes on what it means to be in a home, things like that. So it's like floor to ceiling, wall to wall stuff. It's very cool, kind of creepy, but cool.
Like an oddity.
And that's in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. It's it's on the north side somewhere, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fairly close to things. So
we'll have time. I'll probably most likely it'll be.
I figured we'd probably spend the day there.
It'll be a day. Yeah.
Gotta go early.
Wendy's. Yeah. Maybe
gotta go. Well, Wendy's has breakfast now, so
you're right.
We could do breakfast there.
Will you get the experience though at breakfast?
I know. Yeah,
I swear to God,
be an afternoon thing.
I swear to God, though, if we go there and like we get shitty service and they
awful.
fuck up our order, I'm gonna be like, what the? I'm gonna have you call her.
But she's like, she's my number one customer service part. Like she's stellar. So if she says that it's stellar, it's stellar. It is stellar. Like I will. I trust her judgment in that, but it will be funny that it'll probably be really shitty service.
I know we probably got to wrap up soon, but what is your stance on exceedingly friendly customer service? Do you like it?
Yeah, I'll say, well, I think it depends. Like if it's overly friendly, like, so I told her there was like a
I am the overly friendly. Like
but I don't think so. Like, well, just because that's who you are. Like, that's the thing is if it's genuine, like when you do it, it doesn't feel like it's too much.
But I have had customers literally tell me I'm too much.
Yeah, because they're dickheads.
Yeah.
They're
But it's shocking. But it's like, I'm just like, what? And they were like, you need to calm down. Like, and then I had one lady tell me, hey, I'm like, you don't have to pretend like I'm a human, like type. And I'm just like, ma'am, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I am sorry.
Sometimes I think that I am very cynical, but I hear that I'm like, I'm not as bad as that lady.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
brutal.
That's the situation. You have to understand the people that are saying things to you are people that are too much. It's so funny because that, like, it's the same way I feel like when people don't understand a joke, when they don't get a joke, but then they get offended. or they get upset.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same idea of like this thing of like, you not only did you read the situation wrong, but now you're being a dickhead about it. Like you're saying like, oh, you think, but there has been times where people are like, oh, sir, can you please just have a seat? Like that kind of thing, where it's just like, there's no way you're like that. There's no way you're like that. I told her there was a manager that I had once when I was working at Starbucks that was like, it terrified me because like she was smiling when nobody was around.
She was at the desk.
Like she was just at the desk and like she's looking at her computer and she's like this.
That's
wow.
And I'm just like,
talk about a thing that I cannot relate to at all.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is like one of those things of like, I understand that like you may always be on, but you're not always on.
She was a beauty queen. Like she was into pageants and stuff. So I think it was like,
so there's more of the backstory.
Yes,
starting to make
it's still
pieces are
weird.
falling
Like,
into place.
It is still really weird. But that I think she was just like groomed to, you are always smiling.
Yeah.
Like no matter if you're alone or not,
so
you're smiling.
I get more offended when somebody is like more like, or is like too at my need, I guess. I don't know how to put it. Too productive.
Too helpful.
Yeah, too helpful. When they just keep coming over, I'm like, yes, everything's fine. Like, honestly, I appreciate it, but like, keep like when they don't have like what you would consider just to be basic server etiquette of like
read the room.
Keep an eye.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, their drink is low. I'm gonna go swing by and be like, hey, you guys need anything? You want some more drink? Like, that's why I'm here, not just to go, do you need anything? Do you need anything? Yeah. Everything's still cool? Okay. And then like 2 minutes later, hey, do you need anything? Is everything still okay? Like, yes. What the fuck? You see
that happened to me recently. And I was just like, leave us alone. Like, me and my girlfriend are trying to make very inappropriate jokes that you are interrupting.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is they always walk up when you're like,
well, and I tell my team, because that's customer service. Like that's my job.
Yeah.
But I do tell my team to be present and to really read the body language of them, because there are customers that if you're trying to engage and they don't want to, you're actually creating a bad experience for them.
Yeah.
Like the point is, right. The point is to be present and read the room. Like, look at the body language. Do they want this interaction? If not, then don't give it to them. Like, that's customer service.
You're talking about that being the exact opposite of your experience. That's my experience. Sometimes I don't know how I'm looking at somebody. So it's like one of those things of like, I'm used to the mask for sure a lot of times in public, but like of being able to go like, just to go
also,
like,
you have that great mustache that really emphasizes it. Like,
like
that's like bold font scowling at somebody.
I'm outlining this in the eyebrows. It's just like, I'm framing my discontent for you right now. Please stop. So I think maybe that's it. Maybe you're just not, you're not giving
you
enough.
Just need a mustache.
You need to emote more, maybe. So when somebody starts doing that kind of customer service, literally just go react, go.
No, I'm fine.
No, thank you. And then that way they'll go like, oh, is everything all right? And be like, yeah, it just, I'm sorry, I just need some space right now. Because I have gotten that, but I think overall, like, there's a lot of, like, I think you said about the lady, there's backstory. A lot of times there's more than assume that they're trying their best, but also I think it's very obvious. I think you have a pretty good judge's character, I think, of like being, and that's only because you like me, but just to say like I think you can read the situation. But I would say, so this, I think you'll appreciate this. You might appreciate this. Maybe you'll idolize it even. Get ready for this. In public interactions, right? You know, normal day to day, I found that I overcompensate for the lack of consideration I see in the world. So a lot of times I'll apologize when I don't need to. I'll say, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Like, when I'm not, like, I'm not in your way. We don't have a way here. We just need to coexist. I'm apologizing for almost bumping into you. But if you don't acknowledge me, I started taking the apologies back.
And he started taking my apologies back.
Yeah.
Because I did something the other day and I don't know. I said like sorry or
Like,
whatever.
She was standing there and she was like looking at something, and the guy was just standing behind her, like trying to like look past her. And I was like, oh, baby. I was like, he's just trying to look. Like, just I shouldn't have done that, really, because I should have just been like, yeah, keep looking. He can say something. But I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he's looking.
And
I saw
I
him.
turned around and I go, oh, I'm so sorry.
And
And
then
he didn't
just,
say anything.
He just opens the thing,
Nothing.
starts looking, and I go, oh, I said, she's actually not sorry.
Yeah, she takes it
She
back.
takes that back.
I love that.
I was
Wow.
like, oh,
That is
God.
something that I don't really have, that ability to just be like
No.
incredibly
Try it.
honest in public.
Right.
Yeah,
People don't, if you're not acknowledging the first one, and then you acknowledge the second one, it just proves my point for the second one, and you are a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Either you apologize to me at that point and I will accept
No.
it or not, or then I'm not going to waste an apology on you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
The lady said something to you, sir. Like, it's not going to be that. I'm not going to smack him in the face or anything. But I am going to say, oh, no, don't waste that. No. You're not sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on to that for the next person that actually will appreciate it. Same thing with opening doors. Yeah. I don't do it it's a consideration I'm doing for you. I don't have to do it, but I
Mhm.
am doing it as a consideration. And
Yeah.
it does deserve a little acknowledgement.
Yeah.
There's a big debate about like, if you're doing something like that
For the
acknowledgement, you're doing it for the wrong. But no, like, I'm showing everyone here that can see us consideration for nothing, and then you can show me appreciation for that.
for the
Yeah.
thought.
It's a net positive for everybody. It's
Yeah.
plus 2 points for humanity.
Does
Right.
not doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't take any time out of your day. It just, so if I'm going to do that, then fine. If I'm the only one working here, I'm going to take that work back, and I'm not going to waste it on you. And I want you to know that you
Yeah.
fucked up this social interaction, and you're the problem.
Yeah. So if they don't thank you, you'll be like, oh, actually, you dropped something back there, and then like close the door so they have to go through it again.
See, I knew you'd be able to help me with it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll do it in your honor. I go, that one's from fucking John, bitch.
Yeah. They'll be just bewildered.
Be like, who?
What is happening?
John?
Who the fuck
Yeah.
is John? When did you say thank you? I'm sorry. I was on the phone with my mom.
Yeah, they have
She's in the
earbuds in.
Oh.
I was saying goodbye.
I have done the check though. I always do the check to make sure they're not on the phone. They're not like, they're like the earpiece. Like, all right, they're no Bluetooth. They're just being a dick. Okay, so
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
John, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. You took up
Thank
so
you
much
for having me
time.
on. It's always so much fun talking with you two. And like when we were Instagram messaging, it's still weird to me that we've never hung out in person, because
I know.
I have people in my like acquaintances I have met in person that I know significantly less than like you two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
So-
just thinking that during, like, when we were talking just now, and I was like, and you said something about your girlfriend. I was like, oh, I've never met John's girlfriend. I'm like, I've never met John.
That was
True.
I was just talking to some people at work, and I was like, that's one of the cool things that came out of the pandemic
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that it created this, that we can be connected. Doesn't matter where
And like
where you're at, you know.
yeah, we message like throughout the year, like, or throughout the time, like our time or whatever. Like, you know, I'll see you post something and I'll like
Mhm.
react to it, or we'll like have a little chat or send each other a clip or something every once in a while.
Yeah.
And it's like that stuff. But you're right. Like, I do that with like you, a couple of my friends that I've met here, some like family member. Most of my family, we talk in memes. Like, it's not really
Yeah.
a conversation, but like I've had more of those conversations with you, and I'm like, I've never even seen this guy in fucking person. And,
Yeah.
and I think the connection that I feel is like the fact that you have lived in the state,
Yeah.
and we now live in the state. But even that, we've never even lived in the same state at the same time before.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the craziest thing, is like we don't even have that connection technically. But
Yeah.
we still have and it's through hard times. There's one of the best outcomes of the hard times,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, was meeting Eric, of course, and just
Yeah.
a lot of the people that I met through that. But I think as far as people that I've gotten that connection from, you're definitely the strongest for sure. And
Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate the hell out of you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the hell out of you two. And I
Thank
like
you.
watching all the different projects that you're doing. It's very
Oh.
cool.
I'll like I said, once I stop streaming, I'll tell you real quick about that movie idea to see.
Yes.
And if you know anybody that can help me with it, I have some people in mind that might be able to, but I actually want to do something with it. But this is only the first day, technically.
Mhm.
So I still have a lot of time that I have
You
to.
have 2 weeks.
I know I have 2 weeks, but I'm excited. I want to, like, I don't want to give it the 2 weeks, but I want to be like, okay, that's a good.
You don't have to give it the 2 weeks.
I know, but like it's a good.
That's more for
No, I-
system.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
system.
And plus it gives me plenty of time to like actually plan it out like an adult, like I should,
yeah.
and not just put together like say like I want to do this thing and do the thing I was talking about. But like that, and just like generally like some of the other things that I think that I do that are appreciated by my friends like you. I really do. Like it does make me
It
feel
means
better.
more.
Yeah, it's that validation.
Yeah.
The same thing of like saying like if you think it's cool, then that makes
Yeah.
me feel
Yeah.
even better about it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this. I'm gonna end this stream right now before my cat rips my headphones off. Thanks everyone.